are also happy, especialmente todos los latinos. Todos los latinos y las latinas en el mundo entero y aquí en los Estados Unidos, todas las personas que han trabajado para abrir puertas, más que un logro mío, más que un logro mío, es un logro de todos, demostrando que nuestra huella y nuestra aportación en este país nadie nunca la podrá sacar ni borrar. And if you didn't understand what I just said, you have 4 months to learn.
The following NBC sports program is brought to you in living color.
It's another episode of that show that you sometimes listen to with those guys. I want to stress that the fact that we choose to talk about one thing or one news story or another story on an episode doesn't, and not speak about another story. Like
Yes,
the fact that we produce an episode where we talk about, say, the Super Bowl halftime show, and we don't do an episode where we talk about protesters literally being murdered in the streets by ICE and or Border Patrol. That's not to be taken as any sort of statement on relative levels of importance.
No,
okay.
I've been working on that episode for like a month now, Jack. You understand that? But, it is one of those things. Yeah. I have been prepping for that. So that's a much more important episode, and I have much to say about it. This was something we could prep in an afternoon. So this is what we did.
Exactly, just keeping our hands in. And you heard the voice there of mi amigo Daniel Harper. How's it going? How's everything?
I did do my due diligence on this. I did check, and you will be, I don't know, perhaps happy, perhaps dismayed to learn that neither of our names appeared in the Epstein Files. So we're good.
Yeah, I heard the Trump administration released a big long list of all the names, and Elvis Presley's in there, and Marilyn Monroe, and I'm sure they thought they were being really clever doing that, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they released a whole bunch of the files, and it's still not even it's still a fraction of what's out there, and they're redactions. They're names and faces redacted that should not be redacted, and then there are redactions and then there are people that are like victims whose faces were not redacted and whose names are not redacted. So it's a bullshit thing. Everybody else has already talked about that, so I didn't figure we needed to go into that.
Yes.
But I actually did do the search. I thought it would be really funny if somebody in that orbit had listened to I Don't Speak German and our names appeared. That's why I searched. I was just like, I have to know.
Oh, I
have to know.
I get you. So you did actually check that neither of our names are in there.
Check. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. I didn't realize that was a serious. Okay, well, that's a relief. Anyway, I got away with it. I've managed to successfully hide my email exchanges with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes. Well, I mean, like the Daily Show, links to the Daily Show turned up in the Epstein Files. People were even asking me about that. It was to their blog back in the 2016 when they were they were seen as kind of an edgy but slightly more intellectual source, and that sort of thing. And then it's like I could spend 10 minutes talking about this, but I don't know. That's not. This is a fun episode. We're going to be talking about Megyn Kelly being a bigot today. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. That was very funny, actually, that story, because the Daily Show blog is linked by Epstein, and the context in which that happens is that he's giving that to Noam Chomsky as a source.
Yes.
Because he's sending emails
about racial differences in IQ or whatever. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. There's this wonderful email from Epstein where he sends this to Chomsky, and he says something like, "Well, yes, you make some points about this, that, and the other, but also IQ differences between blacks and whites are a proven scientific fact, and here's my source," and his source is the Daily Shower, which I couldn't help finding that. And obviously, none of this is really funny, but within the context of not being funny, I found it funny.
Well, people were saying that, clearly he's a listener to he was a listener to the podcast, and it's like, Maybe we don't know that he wasn't, but that was a link. That was deliberately a link to the blog. Now, those guys they blacked all their stuff out from the Internet Archive like years and years ago, and I never archived it to that degree. So I don't have it. I don't have the text of that, but I'm pretty sure I read that article back in the day, like 2017 or 2018.
Hmm.
And it was like a list of like these pseudo academic like sources for why black people are stupider than white people and that sort of thing.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
and the way that they tried to do at that time, and they no longer even bother with these days. I mean, that blog was highly trafficked, and I completely understand. I completely agree that in those circles, that was shared too. That Epstein was sharing that shit. I absolutely believe it. It means that he is adjacent to these white nationalist douchebags. But we already know that because he's buddies with Steve Bannon, and Steve Bannon was surely sharing that shit around that time. I mean, I don't know. This was not a surprise to me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
As we pointed out ourselves in a recent episode,
Yes.
people are reacting with apparent performative surprise to the supposed news about all these links between Epstein and Steve Bannon. Oh, they sat down and did fake interviews together, and Steve Bannon tried to. That's, as we pointed out, that's all in that book
Yeah.
and those articles that were published by Michael Wolff years ago, literally
Exactly.
years ago.
Yeah.
You've known
Exactly.
everybody's known all of this entire time. This is the thing about Epstein. Um, but yeah, so we're not actually talking about that because we don't need to
No.
because our names are not in there.
Yeah, exactly. So our dalliances with Jeffrey Epstein are now are have not been made public at least. So we are in
Yeah.
the clear for now.
Imagine having that kind of money and choosing to hang out with Steve Bannon and Elon Musk and Steven Pinker and Lawrence Krauss and all these fucking people. Can you imagine?
I was thinking, God, this is this is a chatty one. It's fine.
I've literally got all the money in the world. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to hang out with Peter Thiel. So what the fuck is the matter with you? I mean, you know, there are several axes upon which we can ask that question, clearly, but that's one of them.
I was listening to this afternoon. I was re-listening to the if Bluesky could kill upset about the millionaires next door or whatever. And this is a book from the mid '90s. It's about like actually the guy, the average millionaire has like $2 million in wealth, and it's really just a frugal guy who just buys used cars and all this. It's such a like bullshit thing. But you think about like what like wealthy people actually value and what it means. They go on this it's did a tangent about Mark Zuckerberg get into watches, and so he just buys. He spends like $40 million
Yes.
on like the 10 most expensive, most rare watches you can buy, and then it's like, do you even have hobbies when you have like because Peter on that podcast is like, yeah, I'm like kind of a bougie guy. I like watches. I have a couple of $2,000 watches because he's a lawyer and has that kind of cash to spend on that. People spend money on their hobbies, but like for Mark Zuckerberg, he's at such an extreme of wealth that he can't even have that as a joy. Like, what does it mean to be a collector of watches when you can just like throw pocket change at it and just be the best in the world? Like you didn't
Yes.
find any pleasure in collecting this. I mean, it's so I don't know. Like that lifestyle is like so. I mean, I don't know what I would do at $200 million, but not that. Anyway.
Exactly. Yes. I know I wouldn't be trying to hang out with Elon Musk. Let's put it that
Yes.
way.
Yes.
Or Mark Zuckerberg or any of these people, because
Yes.
I literally can't think of anything more ghastly except the other things that he did with his spare time.
I was gonna go in a different place, but let's just move past that and move on.
Yeah.
We have
By
ghastly
all
people
means.
to talk about today, as we always do.
We have plenty of ghastly people to talk about. Yes.
Yes.
So before we get to the Bad Bunny thing,
Bad Bunny,
which
yeah.
of course we're going to talk about, I think we want to kind of just briefly swing by what's been happening lately with our old pal Elijah Schaefer, don't we?
Who still has me blocked on Twitter, which is I just find very amusing. Because now, like being blocked on X, not Twitter, being blocked on X means you can still view all of his tweets. You can't follow him and you can't respond. You can't interact. I
Yes.
can still read everything that I could do. Like it's like okay, I don't know. It's just it's blocking doesn't even do the thing that it used to do. Like the one thing of like you used to have to create an alt and go look at it. Now you don't even have to do that. It's very stupid. But apparently, so I've been kind of tracking Elijah Schaefer as I track a lot of these guys, just kind of low key, just sort of dip in and dip out and just kind of see what they're saying. Elijah Schaefer, first of all, is just full on like Nazi at this point. Like there is
Yes.
if anything, he's further to the right than a Nick Flint is. He's not quite as far as like a Mike Enoch or whatever, or Mike Pinovich, if you want to call him, by his true name. He's not quite that far, but he's right there. He's in that ballpark. There is no question. Viciously anti-Semitic, Holocaust denying piece of fucking shit. That's Elijah Schaefer.
Yes.
Whether he was,
it's sort of lightly filtered through Christo-fascist rhetoric, and he's
it's not even that anymore. I mean, it's just, it's like I listened to his podcast. I mean, yes, very lightly filtered through. It's like, no, we need to be Christian, not Jewish. But no, he is very explicitly anti-Semitic. I mean, believes in race realism, like everything that we were saying about like Richard Spencer in 2019. Elijah Schaefer is further than Richard Spencer was in 2019. Let's just put it that way. He is very much a far right piece of shit. It's just the reality of Elijah Schaefer.
Well, he's consistently failed to build the career that he thought he was going to get in that sphere, and that it looked for a hot minute like he was going to get. Yeah. And I think he's realized that really the only thing he has, the only capable, I was going to say talent, but that's not what we're talking about. The only capability he has is to just be extreme and quote unquote shocking. That just seems to be his only tactic.
Yeah, I mean,
not by the way that I'm saying he doesn't believe all of it, because I'm sure he is a genuine bigot and so on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I didn't take you as otherwise. I'm just like, but he is very extreme. And as you recall, he got shit canned from the Blaze when he was feeling up his co-host, or no, not his co-host. He was being emotionally abusive to his co-host, his female co-host, Cindy Watson, who is herself a fucking piece of work. Don't But we support victims even when they're complete pieces of shit. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Which will be relevant going forward.
Yes. And he got shit canned from the Blaze because he was groping another, like one of his occasional co-hosts with a Hispanic last name, Sarah Gonzalez, in a movie theater, or I think it was a movie theater. God, like my memories of this are, it's like you forget all the details because I believe it was a movie theater, or a concert or something. But he was very publicly groping this woman, and apparently drunk or drugged or something. Yeah. No. Yeah, it was a premiere of one of the movies that he was like producing or something. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
Yeah. It was like one of these racist Daily Wire, Blaze TV like pieces of bullshit that everybody forgot 10 minutes after they finished making it. It's one of those things. But yeah, no, me. Yes. Including me. I feel like he was in a theater, was it? And I look at all the sexual escapades that I've seen right wingers do in movie theaters just passed through my head, or at theatrical performances like Lauren Boebert. Anyway, we're not going there. It's fine. I described that story to a female friend of mine at the time, and she just kind of went like, "You don't do that, and those tickets cost a fortune." He's like, anyway, if she's listening, she knows who she is. I appreciated that joke. It was very good. Elijah Schaefer, it turns out, so immediately
we should say he went off to do his own, after being shit canned, as you say, from the Blaze. He started his own what's it called, Rift TV.
So he's gone through a couple of different incarnations over the years. At first he was kind of doing slightly offensive. He's also been sued by a bunch of people. He's kind of continuously in legal. Apparently Kash Patel, or his girlfriend, Kash Patel's girlfriend, is suing him, or some I did not look deeply into this because of a tweet that that Schaefer put out, which anyway, like it sounds like just a bunch of like right-wing dipshits getting in the mud with each other, and like, please go with God. Spend all your money fighting each other in the mud with these bullshit lawsuits. I fully support this. Waste your time on this.
You don't amuse yourselves in the corner. Leave the rest of us alone.
Let the Nazis fight. Yes. But it turns out that so he went independent, and he had like a Rumble channel, and he had an Odyssey channel, and he was kind of doing some stuff on YouTube for a while. And the details of this get complicated, but his most recent thing is the Rift, and that's a fairly recent addition to his thing. Like, he very recently and he's always kind of had this idea of like, he's going to not only be a content producer, but he's going to have like people around him that he's going to like inculcate young talents and that sort of thing. And what we found out recently,
it's going to involve lots of young women being in the studio.
Well,
I suspect the plan was.
Well, there was always a lot of that, and I mean, young men. I mean, I could give you a list of 10 young content creators who have
There are rumors.
So, well, I think it goes a little bit beyond rumors at this point because
I was going to say quite persistent and well supported rumors.
I mean, I can't
Benny Johnson level rumors.
We're not getting into the details here because I don't have all the stuff in front of me. I do have a link in the show notes to I think it's a Will Sumner piece, kind of going through this, and this is just very brief from people. Elijah Schaefer, if he could be our new Cantwell. Let's just put it that way. He very easily could be the new Cantwell. The problem is that Cantwell was such a live wire and did not know how to do anything without talking about it incessantly on his radio show that suddenly I had so much material to go through, just very easily available to me, where he's whining about this shit. And Schaefer is a little bit more reserved. He still does a little bit of that, but he's a little bit more reserved, and he's a little bit because
it tells you something that you can say of Elijah Schaefer at the moment, that he's more reserved than Chris Cantwell.
Yes, exactly. It turns out that Milo Yiannopoulos has a whole bunch of he has the dirt. Like he has all the tea on Elijah Schaefer being actively being. I mean, this is a man who is like viciously homophobic. I mean, this is look. Yes. I do not care where Elijah Schaefer puts his dick. That is not a problem for me. I do not. This is not. I am not laughing at him because apparently he's had a whole bunch of gay sex. Again, man, if Christopher Cantwell and Elijah Schaefer should do a show together, we would do knowledge fight style episodes on that show. You know what we would do? We would dine like kings, my friend.
I'm hearing the Tchaikovsky romance theme coming up. Running towards each other on a beach.
But apparently, Elijah Schaefer, and there are clips of him, like walking through like the basement of a hotel or through the hallway of a hotel that's flooded, and he is just clearly drugged out of his mind. He is just clearly on something. The allegations are that he has been sleeping with his male staffers and like other right-wing influencer types in this world for a long time. Milo Yiannopoulos, how that man is still like, I thought Milo's gonna vanish without a trace. He has somehow put his grubby little fingers on the edge of the toilet bowl and pulled himself back up, still covered in all that shit, and just manages to just have all the receipts on everybody in this world. Every time somebody goes out of line, Milo is the one going out there and going like, yeah, I know this because I talked to your former co-host and I have audio. And it's like, oh my God, how do you have this? What is this? It's completely context free. You can't really put like a timeline on it, but Jesus, it's like it's just so remarkable.
You don't want to say anything. You don't want to acknowledge any sort of talent on the part of somebody like Milo Yiannopoulos, but he does seem to be one of these people that's just a naturally gifted muckraker.
Yeah.
He just seems to have a nose for people's filth.
Yeah. I mean, he was in with Nick Fuentes for a while. He's just always for some reason he's just always able to just hook himself in with somebody who's like he's like part of the crowd, and then whenever something goes wrong, he just spills everything. It's just, I don't know. It's very, I can't imagine why any of these people would still want to be Milo's friend after all the shit he's done to everybody around him for all these years.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it really is that they're fucking, and that's just the long and the short of it. I do not know. Because he's also been buddies with Nick Fuentes, and again, I do not care where Nick Fuentes, what he does with his nether regions. It is not of interest to me. But like, those allegations go way back, and that is somebody who very clearly never wants to have sex with a woman, regardless of his
yes.
Anyway, God, the places that this podcast goes, it is remarkable. Anyway, so we're not going to play anything from Elijah Schaefer. We're not really going to read anything. I'll put some links in the show notes so you can go and like read all this stuff. We may, I don't know if Elijah Schaefer comes back to podcast again, we may kind of do a big episode to kind of cover some of this. But I just wanted to put it out there. I know this is happening. I've been following it. It's been a big kerfuffle.
Well,
I did want to mention it. Go ahead. Yeah.
We should probably mention what is happening, just in case we have listeners that don't know, which is that he has been accused by Milo, amongst other things, as you just alluded to. He has been accused of having an affair with a member of his staff, or at least she was a member of his staff, a woman called, is it Sarah or Susan?
Sarah Stock. Sarah Stock. Yeah.
Who is now? I think she now goes by Sarah Setka because she's married, apparently just married. And she's a Catholic convert, as so many of these people are, a tradcath, extreme tradcath, right wing tradcath, whose marriage was actually blessed by the Pope, by Pope Leo himself personally. And the accusation, and she's like ridiculously young. She's 22 or something like that. And apparently the affair, if it happened, was happening when she was 20, 21. And she was working for him. So this isn't criminal, but this is pretty disgraceful behavior to add to all his other disgraceful behavior. And
Schaefer's in his like early 30s, I think. He's somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yes, he's a good 10 years older than her. And she was his employee, as I say, and that's not, you don't do that.
Well, apparently Elijah Schaefer does. yes.
Well, but he's a piece of shit, as I say. And of course, he's a married man. He has a wife and kids. And the accusation has led him to go on what appears to be at least a sort of public nervous breakdown, where he, as you say, he posts videos of himself wandering through a hotel which seems to be flooded and sort of talking like, whoa, man, what's happening? I don't understand.
Where's the water coming from? Yeah,
say my life doesn't make sense. Which is either him, as you say, on some heavy duty drugs, or it's him performing being on drugs or performing having a nervous breakdown, because I don't think you can really take anything this person says at face value.
That's something I have a really hard time with some of these guys. And when they go into this place, it's like I can't report on this because I can't verify any of it. I can't, like, I don't have a read on it. It's just like one of those things of like, I'll just keep watching, and when I have something to say, I'll have something to say. That's kind of where I land on it. So yeah.
But he has, I mean, the serious kernel at the heart of this, and we will move on shortly, but the serious kernel at the heart of this is that he has made some very peculiar public posts, I think, on Twitter, and some of them have sounded quite worrying, where it sounds like he might be thinking about suicide, or he might be thinking about violence against his family, against his wife and children.
Yeah, there was a thread in a place that I will not name, that of far right provenance. We'll just put it that way. It's a place that you should not visit. Just put it that way. Which is basically the entire thread is like, did Elijah Schaefer just kill his whole family? I will not be linking to it for all sorts of reasons, but these guys, they spill all the tea. They know the details of everybody. It's just one of those things. Because there's this subculture of like people of these like this right wing drama factory of like, and so like they pass like screenshots of tweets back and forth, and so there's like three guys at the center who all have all the stuff, and the second somebody like steps out of line, they just list this. They're just it's a pit of fucking vipers. This whole community is just a pit of vipers. You think like lefty Twitter, Mexican standoffs are nasty? No, this is the kiddie pool, guys. I promise you. I mean, granted, if you're Rebecca Watson or if you're a woman on the internet, it's different. But this is I am not in any way disclaiming that. But like the things that like normally we see on Bluesky of like somebody gets canceled on Bluesky. No. This is so much worse. It's like somebody's like says something slightly positive about the Jews, and suddenly it's like, well, yeah, but you shat in this guy's mouth for fun because you got off on it 6 years ago. We have and it's like, oh my god, this is awful. Sorry, that is a fake example, but you get the point that I'm getting at. Like people are ready and willing to pounce on you the second you do anything out of line for these guys. And Elijah Schaefer, I'm glad he is suffering so much for his sins right now. I think it's glorious. Also, I will mention that Sarah Stock, I forgot to mention this, that Sarah Stock, aka Sarah Setka, she was one of the young ladies who was on one of these Surrounded episodes. I believe she was on the Mehdi Hassan episode. And she's the one who was like...
It was the Sam Cedar one.
Oh, was it the Cedar? She's the one who's like, well, what's wrong with being a xenophobic nationalist?
Yes. She was the one that was trying to explain to Sam Cedar that no, the normal proper culture of the United States is xenophobic Christian nationalism.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. When you're pretty and a xenophobic nationalist, you go far in this movement. That's just how it goes. Well, conventionally pretty, I should say. But Yeah. It's God. This is the thing I spend so much of my life on. I've lived the bad life. This is the bad place. Anyway. Why do I know all this? Oh my God. Anyway, all right. I think I'm done with Elijah Schaefer for now. We'll come back to him. I promise you. We will do more about Elijah Schaefer in a full episode. But believe it or not, that was the fun bit. That was Elijah Schaefer being a dickhead.
Yeah.
That's the fun bit. We need t-shirts. We need t-shirts with this. It always gets worse. That's the
It always gets worse.
It always gets worse on this podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Megyn Kelly on Piers Morgan talking about Bad Bunny's halftime performance at the Super Bowl, which yeah. So Jack.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know if people are aware of this, but they had this big football game over in the States about a week ago now, isn't it, or more? Yeah. Apparently, they have this every year. And it's not. I don't know. It's weird. It confuses me because they call it football, but it looks more like rugby to me. Except that the guys are wearing these weird sorts of. They look like they're wearing the kind of shoulder pads that women used to wear in 80s soap operas, and they're running around playing something that looks kind of like rugby. I don't really understand it, but it's Americans. You have to just let them get on with it and amuse themselves in their own way. Bless them. And one of the things they apparently do every year is they have this musical number in the middle. And of course, the NFL, shockingly, is in the business of trying to make money and attract audiences and appeal to the widest possible audiences. So what they do is, they try to draft in the sort of coolest, most hip and trendy with it hep cats who are currently the beat rhythm combos who are popular with the kids. And apparently, the one that they lighted upon this time is this chap called Bad Bunny, who I'm joking aside, literally never heard of this guy until this whole controversy came up, which is no reflection on him; it's a reflection on me.
He is the single biggest musical artist in the world right now. He is like number one on Spotify, number one. Like he is by any appreciable measure, he is the number one artist in the world right now. Just to be clear, it's just that Jack and I are old and nerdy.
Extremely
and
old,
I stopped paying attention to popular music sometime around 2002. I'm basically like, let me listen to my 90s alternative. That's, especially Pumpkins, Nirvana, Everclear, anything past that, I'm just like, pop music left me alone a long time ago. So, the fact that I do not know who Bad Bunny is, it says nothing at all about Bad Bunny. I've listened
2 weeks ago, if somebody had asked me, Jack, who do you think is the most popular musician in the world, the biggest pop musician in the world at the moment, and I would have said, I think it's probably somebody called Lil Nas X, because that was the last person I heard of as being described as the most popular pop musician in the world. And I'm realizing now that this Bad Bunny guy's come along that was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Something.
No, I'm even further behind. I would have said like Shakira or Beyonce. Probably would have been no, Taylor Swift. I probably would have guessed Taylor Swift. Honestly, that's probably where I would have.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I've listened to a little. I don't know. Like, I was saying this in a group chat. Is like, I realized a long time ago that I not only cannot play music, I can't even pretend to be a music nerd because I am so far behind. Like the amount of work that I did. I'm like one of those, I'm basically dyslexia, but for music. I just listen to what I like, and that's fine. I don't argue with it. You may not like the bands I like. I like my stuff. I just listen to it, and it's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. Anyway,
that's right.
So our bona fides here have been described. We do not know exactly who a Bad Bunny is, but I personally appreciate that. He seems very talented and very, warm, and his stuff. I've listened to a few of his songs. He
seems like music. A very nice chap.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice young man. Very nice young man.
Yes.
And so this became a huge thing. Our cold open for this episode was when Bad Bunny was announced as the back in September, I think. He was announced as the performer for the Super Bowl halftime show, and the entire right wing lost their mind because Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican.
We were all just sprayed in brain matter from their heads just exploding spontaneously after this announcement.
And I listened to them complain about this in real time at the time. It was, I don't know. It's just one of those things. The fact that this whole thing, we're really talking about a media controversy that's completely manufactured, by the way. It's just,
it's totally fake culture war bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I thought this would be fun to talk about, and this was an easy prep, so that's why we're doing it. This is not more important than plenty of other things that we should be talking about today. But Bad Bunny, so he announced it, and then everybody lost their shit. And Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's former organization, they are still playing clips of Charlie Kirk. They're still playing his fucking ad reads on his podcast. You know how I know? I listened to the fucking podcast, which still goes on. Believe me, we're gonna do a whole episode of this one day. I promise you. It's fucking bizarre. It's fucking bizarre.
A voice from the grave.
They'll just play like this is when he just said this. This is a Q&A he did in 2019 with his wife, and it's like, oh my god, why? Oh my, I mean, it's just they're just riding that man's coattails. They're grasping onto his grave. It's I don't know. It's bizarre. Anyway,
let him rest in peace, please.
So TPUSA decided we're going to do the All-American halftime show, and they can't call it like alternative Super Bowl. They can't. The NFL will sue them to oblivion by using the word Super Bowl and marketing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I thought it would be really funny if they did that and they got sued into oblivion. I was very much in favor of that, but they were smarter than that. Unfortunately, they managed to to not do that. We're just but so they
fucked it up in every other respect, though, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, afterwards, there was, because they did this All-American halftime show, they had Kid Rock as the headliner, who has become this like total MAGA dipshit.
Who's literally the only person in it that anybody had ever heard of.
I mean, apparently some of the I kind of looked into this, and some of the country stars that were like kind of the other acts were people who'd had a couple of hits. They were like kind of they had a couple of hits, and then they skidded a little bit, and so they never really hit the big time. But look, I respect I may not agree with them. I may not like the music, but like, it's a hard thing to become a professional musician. It's fine. Kid Rock was a huge, I never particularly cared for his music, but he was a huge artist in 2000. We are now 26 years later. He's also a complete.
And if he hadn't
dipshit,
decided to hitch his wagon to MAGA and Trump and TPUSA, nobody at this point would be talking about him. Exactly. He wouldn't be on television, I'm afraid.
I mean, I'm joking, like, oh yeah, I really love Everclear and Smashing Pumpkins and all that sort of thing. Like, this is the same era. Like, it's a little bit after that, but it's only like 2 or 3 years after the era of the stuff where I'm like, I'm the old fogey listening to my old fogey music at this point. I'm stuck in the 90s. I'm very happy to be stuck in the 90s. It's fine. I do listen to some new stuff, but it's very few and far between. And I'm not with it on pop music at all. Baba da Baba was like 99, 2000, and it's like 1 year after A Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Like, this is not a contemporary music artist. This is like, I can just imagine like if the Super Bowl had put up, like an aging Billy Corgan who had a Nazi face, but he probably still is a Nazi. But anyway, that's another topic. We don't give him money today, of course. But so these people lost their fucking shit. The All-American halftime show, numbers differ on this. I think the kind of consistent thing is that, like, because they had like huge numbers like the day of, and that appears to be like bot engagement. Like, they were like deliberately hyping it to make it look huger than it was.
Yeah.
It does look like it was kind of a big thing that like maybe 10 million people have actually watched it. I watched it just to kind of be on the yeah, 10 million. But that's through like live streams. Like that's like how many people like clicked over to it afterwards, and that inflated his view count. Like I did. I did it. I didn't watch. I don't watch football, so it's like one of those things. But it would not surprise me to learn that like a substantial, like that right wing TPUSA audience, those people who are invested in like fighting this culture war. I sat and watched it 2 or 3 times. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's, but they were saying like, 50 million people, and it's like, no, 50 million people did not watch this fucking thing. That's just not the way it works.
I believe that's what's called costly signaling.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that was a thing. And I don't know.
Much hilarity ensued. I particularly liked the guy that was singing the song about, I just want to drive my truck and feed my dog and You can't be country without being cancelled, and of course they get the transphobia in there because it's pretty much mandatory at this point. Just absolutely pathetic whinging.
Yeah, no, we could cover this all day if we wanted to, but God, we got Megyn Kelly to get to. It's funny how many like, immediate parodies that there were. There was like one going around, and I watched it. It's like, I just want to drink my truck. So,
well, the one I liked, I'm a simple soul. The one I liked the most was the one that just bleeped feed in Feed My Dog, so they made it sound like he was saying, I want to fuck my dog. That did it for me, That's
it's funny that you are much more prurient about these things than I am. My mind is in the gutter, and yours is even deeper in the gutter.
Absolutely.
I do love that. Don't trust the accents, guys. It's our audience. Guys and gals and non-binary pals, do not trust the accents to tell you whose mind is more in the gutter. Mine is usually there, but Jack does love his fart humor, so it's the thing. Anyway, all right. Megyn Kelly went on to Piers Morgan's program.
Yes, she did.
Ranted about this. There's like a good half of this hour and 10-minute long, about 30 minutes straight through of Megyn Kelly whining incessantly about this. I have 6 minutes of it. We will see how much of this we need, but I do have 6 minutes of this to get through. So we shall see. All right. This is starting from kind of the beginning of the thing. Some of these clips have been kind of going around, but I wanted to kind of go through it in a little bit more detail, just to as we do to kind of point out some of the stuff that hasn't been remarked on. You see the 15-second clip where she uses Latinos with the hard R, but we gotta get deeper than that here. We gotta do more. That's what we're here to do. We are here to mire you in the mush because that's what people apparently come here for us to do. So
yeah, they come here to be harmed, humiliated, hurt, injured. Just their faces ground into the dirt. That's why they come to us.
I was rewatching the Half the Answer I did. I really like that podcast. I've been liking it more and more every day. With Caitlin Green. I was like, yeah, every time you talk to me, it's just a sad day for everybody, right? Especially when you get talking to me about these topics. And she goes, yeah, but we invited you here, so we're making it sad because you're the one. We wanted you to do this, and that's what I feel like this audience is. You wanted. I'm in a sadomasochistic relationship with my audience at this point.
I was going to say, anytime anybody has a conversation with Daniel Harper, you need to work out the safe words in advance.
Yes.
Well, on the Daily Show, they say no.
The pause button is right there. The fast forward is right there. That's it's non-linear audio. Okay, we got to get into this.
It's like the Superbowl Half-Time Show. If you don't want to hear it, you don't have to. You can just not tune in.
You do not have to watch this. I didn't watch it. I watched the halftime show because I haven't watched. I mean, I watched the one last year with Kendrick Lamar just because I heard it was Kendrick Lamar literally calls Drake a pedophile on national TV. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Anyway, all right. So this is towards the beginning. They have a friendly kind of back and forth opening. Piers Morgan recently just had a hip surgery or something similar, and so he's on pain meds, and they're commiserating about that. These people are friends. Don't get me wrong. They're gonna get a little bit contentious here, and believe me, I feel like Ross Douthat was somebody that I kept saying we don't like this guy. He's gonna say some reasonable things, but we don't like this guy. Piers Morgan even more so. I don't hate Piers Morgan as much as I hate Ross Douthat, but I've had more time to hate Ross Douthat. I find Piers Morgan just a limp noodle all the way around. You may differ with me on that. You may hate Piers Morgan more.
Yeah. We have here a question of transatlantic cultural misunderstanding.
Yes.
I know Piers Morgan a lot better than you do.
Yes.
He is beneath loathsome. This guy is absolute pond slime.
I just haven't dug into him deeply enough to he's someone that I have to make myself pay attention to, whereas Douthat is a little bit more omnipresent over here. So anyway, I'm not defending Piers Morgan. We hate this guy, but anyway, and we will talk about that a little bit. Where he's going to go to some very stupid places, but he is the relative voice of reason. And God, when Piers Morgan is the relative voice of reason, this is the media environment that we live in right now. Anyway, this is on his quite popular show. Here I got this from YouTube. You will find there are some little audio edits where there's some places where the audio doesn't line up exactly. That seems to be in his original. I tried to go like hunt for that. I don't know if this conversation was cut down and they just didn't do a good job cutting between it.
Are there any moments where the lip syncing goes out of true? Where
I did not find that. I did watch the video several times and I generated a transcript, so I have it in front of me here. But no, I did not notice that. It's God, this is just the number of hours I spent listening to Megyn Kelly rant about this. Anyway, this is, I would almost call this like a Sukhan of Megyn Kelly. This is Megyn Kelly in a nutshell. Right here. Everything you need to know about Megyn Kelly, you're about to learn. Yeah, quintessence. Sorry, I was looking for a different word there. But all right, let's get moving.
I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive politically in the end. His Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot. So
at the Grammys, he won a bunch of Grammys like a week and a half earlier than this, and he had a anti-ICE sentiment in his acceptance speech. So he very deliberately went political in his speech, as all right-thinking people should say fuck ICE. I don't think he said fuck ICE, but it was that many, not so many words, but very overt.
It was actually, what he said at the Grammys was actually very mild and moderate and polite in real terms. And that's classic Piers Morgan. He, there's a 1-2. There's I didn't think the Super Bowl show was divisive. He was divisive at the Grammys. No, he fucking wasn't, Piers.
Other things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. A couple actually got married for real in the middle of it. He was preaching about unity.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. I was just mocking the idea that you would think the right would have liked literally anything in that show. And we all know why.
Yeah. Well,
including you, Piers.
Believe me, we're gonna get there. And also,
oh yeah.
Apparently, we were talking before this. You did not actually watch this, right? Like, just to be
not all the way through. I've seen clips and bits and things like that. Yeah.
I watched it and enjoyed it. I thought it was, it was. I thought it was very
13 minutes long.
It's 13 minutes long. Yeah, it's fine. Like I watched it. I knew once I knew I was prepping for this, I did go through and watch it again. And I actually found I'm going to put a link to the show notes so you can watch a version of it that actually has English and Spanish subtitles, so you can actually figure out what this person is actually saying. Anyway, we're going to get there.
Not just the United States of America, but the wider Americas. What was the problem, Megyn?
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show.
Ha ha, Megyn. Ha ha. She's basically trying to make the jerk off motion. Of course, that's what she's.
Is she just mocking Piers there?
She is. Yeah, it's like come on, Piers. That is such a stupid thing to say. I just want to make the JO motion. That's all she's saying.
Well, I hate to say this, but I'm kind of with her on that.
No.
Yes, that his remarks there are incredibly fatuous. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But of course, Piers Morgan is being fatuous and centrist and stupid and just, acting like he's got fat between his ears, where his brain should be. Megyn Kelly just thinks he's not being fascist enough. So, that's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. And here, we're going to go right to it.
No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him.
It's about him.
About him being chosen as...
Thank you for admitting it.
Yeah. It's just him. He's just not allowed. Yeah. Why?
He's
what
brown.
Is it about Bad Bunny? Now, she's going to go in a little bit different place, but, it really is.
The Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before...
Why does she do anti-immigrant policies in that fake voice? Or anti-immigrant policies?
He's got that from Trump. Trump does that.
No. You support these are objectively anti-immigrant policies. You think this is a good thing. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. She routinely on her show is like, get out, all of them, get out, get out. She screams that to a microphone many times in an episode. Sometimes, whenever she's covering this topic, it's just, now, in her mind, maybe she's like the illegals as opposed to, sorry, no human being is illegal. But
Yeah.
and not like immigrants, but like this is, I don't know, like this is objectively an anti-immigrant policy. I don't know what you're talking about. To like put it in that like little sing-songy voice, that little fake voice, it's like it's silly. It's just like, come on, own up to what you believe, Megyn. I mean, I just wish these people would do this more often. It's like, you believe a thing, you believe these anti-immigrant policies are good, just say it. And she does in other places, but here it's like, I don't know. She puts that spin on it, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, Trump does exactly the same thing. Trump will give a speech where he says, I hate Mexicans and we should get all the immigrants out of the country. I'm anti-immigrant and it's wrong to be pro-immigrant. And then he'll go to another speech and he'll say, people accuse me of being anti-immigrant. And he'll put on the stupid idiot voice that he does. I mean, his entire voice is stupid idiot voice all the time. But then he has a silly voice that he puts on when he's pretending to be somebody on the left or a Democrat or anybody literally criticizing him, where they start talking like this. They say that I'm anti-immigrant. Again, it's exactly the same thing. What they're saying is criticism of me is inherently illegitimate.
Yeah.
And the logic, to the extent that there is any, is, you're criticizing my intentions. You're saying I'm doing this. I'm rounding up immigrants and putting them in concentration camps and expelling them from the country because I hate them. I don't hate them. I just think, and then you get all the bullshit about culture and putting America first and all that crap. They think they have this license to do whatever the hell they want as long as their intentions are pure, and they get to say whether their intentions are pure. So they just have a license to do whatever they want, eternally immune from criticism.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
For the current controversy over ICE, he doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are not shy about pushing for it. And that's why President Trump got elected.
No, they don't.
This is a complicated question, actually. I looked this up just before we got on today. About half of Americans broadly agree in like deportation efforts. It's about 50-50, whether there should be deportation of all the illegals, quote unquote.
That's not most.
Well, right, but when you look at what is actually happening on the ground, like in Minneapolis, and what's actually going on with current ICE detention policies, you get like 30 something, like 36% or something are like in favor of it at all. This is wildly unpopular. And I think this is something that I think we will talk about in our next episode, where we will be talking a lot more about kind of the right-wing response to what's going on in Minneapolis and with the murders on the streets of those two incredibly brave people. But it really is, Joe Biden had a very draconian deportation policy. It was quiet. It was underground. They didn't make too much fuss about it. And so, it's one of those things, like the worst president on immigration in American history is Donald Trump. The second worst is Joe Biden. The third worst, Barack Obama. Like, this is not,
It always gets worse.
It always gets worse. It always gets worse. We really need to make t-shirts. It's going to be a thing. All right.
So he and his little buddies over at Green Day.
Over at Green Day. Green Day was like the opening act at the,
Oh, no, there's a band I do listen to.
Yes.
That is my sort of thing.
No. I've long been a fan of Green Day. I have some of their CDs still somewhere in this apartment. They very often they've been playing their song "American Idiot" like over they keep playing that song and they update the lyrics every few years. So now it's like, I don't want to be a MAGA American, it's where I don't want to be like a whatever the old lyric was. But I do wonder, Megyn, how you feel about the war in Iraq, the wars in Afghanistan, and the George W. Bush presidency, because nowadays the average MAGA person does not. So was that saying that maybe Green Day was right in 2003 and 2004? No. Also, I just love his little buddies over at Green Day, as if Green Day is like a bar, like a state or something. His buddies over at Green Day. You mean the band Green Day, not like. Green Day is not a place where you can just go visit. I don't know. It was just weird phrasing. I mean, look, live television is a thing, but it is his little buddies over at Green Day. I laugh at that. I'm sorry. I just think it's very silly.
It already sounds like she's probably not literally saying this, but the way she's phrasing it, it sounds like she's alleging some sort of conspiracy. These people literally cannot talk or think about anything without starting to slide into conspiratorial thinking.
Yes, exactly.
They project it all over the place.
When, as we know, these people are all in the same DMs. It's like the conspiracy is with them. The conspiracy is that side. I don't know what the fuck you're talking
exactly,
about. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, and Steve Bannon. They were DMing together. I suggest that Megyn Kelly was probably getting the same advice from Steve Bannon that Epstein did. I mean, in a previous episode, we talked about this. Like, it is very possible. We know that these people are in text chains with each other. It's just, it's bizarre. Like, it's always projection on this thing. It's always like the Green Day and Bad Bunny are sitting there like, we hate America. Let's convince Americans that we don't hate America so we can be on that. It's like, it's so silly. It's so silly. As opposed to, like, Bad Bunny, the biggest music artist in the world, and Green Day. This is an attempt to reach out to, like, the 40s people of our age who might be watching the Super Bowl. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. It's very
never stupid. Miss a chance to bash the United States of America. He got selected.
Neither.
Free speech. Free speech. Free speech. I
agree. But, like, Green Day does not bash. Like, these are Americans. Green Day and Bad Bunny. The whole point of this is being critical of certain policies, but these people love America.
Also, Megyn, nobody hates modern America more than you people. Yes. Literally, you and your ideological cohorts, you hate, loathe, detest, and despise modern America. That's why you spend almost all your time complaining and moaning and bitching and whining about it, like you are doing literally now.
Yes, exactly. America doesn't look like what I want it to look like. I hate it. No, absolutely. America means a very specific thing, and we're going to get there. So
it means white America. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because it's just white supremacy all the way down with these people. It always is.
It is.
Because Jay-Z, for some reason, has got the choice over who performs at our Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Okay. Jay-Z, for some reason, like, again, Jay-Z, not white. Jay-Z, for some reason, because he's one of the biggest producers of music in the world, and, like, has been contracted by the NFL to run
Aren't you people supposed to be all about the market and meritocracy?
Because they make a shit ton of money by doing things that are broadly popular with the American people. And
Jay-Z gets to make these decisions because he has been tremendously successful in his career at making huge amounts of money in this business. This is supposed to be your thing, Megyn. You're the ones that are supposed. This is your system. Except, of course, that it's not supposed to work for certain people, is it?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get right there right now, I promise.
But to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem.
Okay. First of all,
she's just in full on sort of playground bully mode.
Exactly. This is listening to her show is. This is to a T. This is what she does. And when she guests on other people's shows, she just bullies the host. This is exactly what she does. She is an emotional child. At least that's the performance that she gives. First of all, it seems that about 40 million people speak Spanish at home as a primary language. That number seems broadly accurate. It's about another 15 to 20 million who speak it as a second language, or who speak it as like a heritage speaker who speak it. So the number is not 40 million. The number is closer to 60 million people who would understand, who understand Spanish, who are fluent in Spanish. Let me be clear. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Point taken. Also, even if it were only 30 million, that is still a vast constituency within your society.
Yeah,
a gargantuan constituency of people in your society.
And I mean, it's one of the things that I think Europeans often, or people who are not from the United States, most Americans have a passing familiarity with like the basics of Spanish.
Mhm.
It's just a part of our. It's been a part of. Ricky Martin played the. He was one of the
Yeah.
like the guest acts, and like Ricky Martin was singing in Spanish. 2099, 2000, like again, 25 years ago. The Latin explosion was the thing that people. Then it was like, oh yeah, look, you got a bunch of people speaking Spanish. That's awesome. It's great. I personally still think it's great. I really should have used it as an excuse to speak Spanish. 25 years ago, it would have been better, easier when I was younger, but harder because there weren't as many resources available. But anyway, yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, and again, I don't want to belabor this. This is a very silly thing to keep belaboring. This is the biggest music artist in the world. This is by definition unifying. I don't understand
Yeah.
the idea that like they chose this guy to speak Spanish. He's going to sing in Spanish. He's a middle finger to America and the particular type of Americans that she's referring to. We're going to get to that in just a second. But yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is supposed to be your system, Megan. Success through commercial success, through cornering the market. He's done it. He's literally done it. He's supposed to. He should represent. I'm going to do a Piers Morgan here, but I don't understand why you don't like him, because he represents everything right wingers should like, shouldn't he? He's worked himself up to enormous success through talent and grit and hard work, and now he's succeeded in the marketplace, and he's a success in terms of profits, and he's shifting units. And why I don't understand, Megan. What's your problem? What's the problem?
Believe it or not, Piers Morgan is going to go to an even sillier place here in a moment. So, but yes, he in the extended version, and I watched the full video. He does get to a lot of those similar places. But yes, yes. All right, and also I do. I mean, Megyn Kelly will often, when she uses when there is a word in Spanish, she will do that the very racist Hispanic accent. Not for the Latinos. It's very awful.
And it is awful. It's also self-consciously done to be shocking as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as you say, she is a perpetual teenager.
Yeah,
she is a perpetual mean girl playground bully teenager.
I mean, this woman is in her like early 50s, maybe mid 50s at this point. Like,
yeah. She's my age,
and is one of the best paid podcasters on the planet. Has one of the like this is like a top 50 podcast of all podcasts.
I'm not.
The Megyn Kelly show. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. Anyway.
Anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
I feel like she censored a word there. There was a word in there that was edited out on the fly as she.
She was self-editing a little bit there. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. We don't, I think that was a word that started with N. Might be, anyway. Piers Morgan.
You don't need it. You don't need any of this.
Piers Morgan is about to ask he's gonna ask the question. I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna see if this is not a get you. I just want to see. I want to know if you know the answer, because I know the answer, but a lot of people don't. So I just want to know if you know the answer.
Okay, what is the national language, officially the national language of the United States of America?
Just out of curiosity, do you know the answer to this question?
I do. There isn't one.
There isn't one. Exactly. Despite the fact that the Trump administration and other like right-wing figures in the United States are continually like proposing bills to make this happen. English is the state language of several states, like a bunch of red states, like Alabama has English as an official language. Just for instance, I looked at the list, and it's a lot of but this is very much a political project. This is a right-wing political project. And why doesn't the U.S. have an official language, an actual official language? Because at the beginning, it was a mishmash of a bunch of people speaking different languages. English was a majority language. Dutch, German were highly spoken languages among the original settlers in the 1780s. I don't know. This isn't. America has always been this. It's always been just a mix of people speaking, different languages. I don't know. Like, it's so. I don't know. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to refer to. I mean, I don't know, but it's got to refer to government documents, hasn't it? It's got to refer to. Yeah, well, de facto, then English is probably the you would not say the official language, but you would say something like the lingua franca of the American government, because almost all of it is written in English. So what? What's that got to do with anything?
And I mean, it is, but it is worth noting that, like, if you are a Spanish speaker first, if you're a French speaker, you can get official documentation. Like, you can fill out your tax forms in a bunch of different languages, precisely because we don't have that as our official languages. Because we don't have an official.
But even countries that have official languages don't ban business being done in other languages. Countries that have.
I think Megyn Kelly would. Yeah, but anyway, continue. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, that people have been pushing to make it official.
I honestly don't know what's more pathetic there, Megyn's squalid ignorance or Piers' pathetic attempt at a gotcha.
Okay, right, so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and...
I thought that was coming. I thought that was coming. Yeah, the Islamic Caliphate of Great Britain, currently suffering under Sharia law, run by a council of imams. Yeah, fuck off, man.
There are just so many kebab places. They're just taking over everything.
That's right. You can't find an English pub anymore.
No. Yes. We covered this in a previous episode. Yeah. It's so amazing. London just has a few too many curry places around. Although I think English people kind of think curry is like an English invention at this point. I don't know. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, most of the so-called Indian food that you will buy in Indian restaurants in Britain, most of the food you buy, those are English dishes. Curry vindaloo, that's an English dish. That's a dish invented in this country. But and it's a result of cultural integration and assimilation. And I would say that the variety of cuisine that you can get, national cuisines and English or British adaptations of different national cuisines, if you want to be persnickety about it, pedantic about it, it's one of the best things about our big cities now. It's one of the best things about London these days.
I mean, that's the best thing about any big city. Honestly, having, I don't know, I love to eat, so having lots of great food places is always a plus. I do not live in a major city, but I have tons of great food options that are almost all brought from places in the world where people do not majority speak English. It's just a thing. Sorry, go ahead.
The best things about London now. I mean, London is a terrible place now in many respects. But the best things about it are to do with the presence and liveliness and integration of so many different people from different cultures. That's one of the good things about it that remains. The bad things about it are all, ironically enough, the bad things about it are all kind of about integration of foreign cultures as well, but only in the sense of money from gigantic transnational corporations and consortiums being invested and turning huge swaths of it into gentrified, soulless wastelands and gigantic but ugly fucking skyscrapers. Yep. So there you go. Now, I mean, to be a little bit serious about that pathetic display we just heard, that is just the great replacement theory.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, 100%,
couched in her terms.
Yeah. It's like we're gonna be sorry for the immature. We're Americans. We still get our dick hard. Unlike you fucking Englishmen, you've been surrounded by the brown horse, but our dick is still hard, and we will fuck ourselves to weight replacement. We will get rid of all the darkies with our hard dicks. That's kind of what she's trying to say there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry to be slightly vulgar there, but there is this real homespun Americanism. There is this the strapping lad from Nebraska who's it's so it's gonna get even more disgusting in a minute. I promise you. I wouldn't subject you to this if it wasn't at least somewhat worth it. But all right.
Took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here, whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim. It's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances.
I do find it really interesting that she has to admit he's American. In a lot of places, they would not admit. They would say Puerto Rico is not actually an American place. That it, that is not American.
Too many right-wing commentators have been humiliated making that mistake. They've
Right.
Tommy Lahren got caught like that. Harris Faulkner got caught like that. I think Megyn is obviously she's steeped in that media culture, so
Right.
she's managed to sidestep that particular landmine.
Or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football.
Call it American football. I made this joke earlier in the show.
Yes, you did. You made that joke, and I was like, I can't wait to play this clip for Jack. Yes, no, exactly. No. I'll be honest with you. I watch enough European travel vloggers based in Europe, and a lot of my Spanish lessons, like the little dialogues and stuff. When I see football, I immediately think of European football. I do not think of American football. I actually have to translate in my head. No, we're talking about the rugby thing with the pads and the head injuries. God, American football is one of those things. It's literally just so basically every player has head contusions. Everybody has brain damage playing that sport for too long. One of my more radical. I have a very strong opinion that the sport should really just be banned. I don't think we should be playing that sport. I think it should be illegal to play professional football, honestly.
Well, just listen to Herschel Walker talk for 5 minutes. Case closed.
And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not
like Bad Bunny, very quintessentially American. 40 million people by your reckoning, Megyn Kelly, speaking English, is one of the most popular artists in the world. This is incredibly American.
What is he? What can she possibly really mean? I wonder when she says American.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, The Who played the Super Bowl halftime show 15 years ago.
Yes, and the Rolling Stones.
And the Rolling Stones.
They weren't American.
Yeah. Rihanna's not from America. I don't know. They have other reasons to hate Rihanna, but you know what I'm getting at. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Nicki Minaj is not an American citizen for all her trying.
I'm
true. Betting that Megyn wouldn't be upset about it if the NFL had asked Nicki Minaj to do the halftime show.
Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf.
Oh my God,
Meatloaf! You want Meatloaf to do it? You want Meatloaf? I think he's dead, isn't he? He can't do the halftime show. He's gone.
Yes, no. Oh my God, Meatloaf is that is that's TV shows set in the 70s, what their mom was serving. I grew up eating meatloaf. There are ways of baking it well. Meatloaf is your generic meatloaf, the kind that you get in a household kitchen in 1985 or whatever, is the most disgusting food. It's so bad. Anyway, I know Jack is a vegetarian, so he barely will not know these things. But anyway, continue.
She barely knows what she's saying at this point. She's working herself into just an orgasmic fury of delighted jingoistic racism. She's lost control. It's gonna be she in a minute she's just gonna start screaming random phrases bald eagle, apple pie, blueberries.
And it's worth noting that a lot of the foods. Sorry, not to. Just to get into this, a lot of the foods you serve traditionally at a party, at a halftime party or a Super Bowl party, it's nachos with dips and 7-layer dip. It's finger foods, pizzas and hamburgers. Hamburger would have been much better.
Italian food, Mexican food.
Exactly. Well, just wait. We're gonna give her one more clause of another food that she wants to, and then I'm going to rant about this for a second. So wait for it.
Maybe some fried chicken.
Some fried chicken. Guess where American fried chicken comes from, Megyn? Guess where American fried chicken comes from. It's a Creole food from the American South. Enslaved African people and Scottish immigrants merged their cuisine and made what is now traditionally American fried. I love American fried chicken. This is not it is quintessentially American, but it's all the things you hate about quintessentially American. It's oh my god, Megyn. So stupid. I'm sorry. I just had to go there. It's just one of those things. She says fried chicken, and I'm like, no, Megyn, you were wrong. She means fried chicken, like all white meat chicken tenders that are like dry as a bone. That's the kind of fried chicken that she wants. Oh my God. Not an ounce of spice, no flavoring whatsoever.
And an English-speaking performer. That's what this
Bad Bunny speaks English. She just doesn't sing in English because he chooses not to. Bad Bunny does, in fact, speak English.
Super Bowl should be.
Okay, two things. One, you've conceded.
Even Piers Morgan is reeling from the sheer stupidity of what he's just heard.
Yes, we do not have to hand it to Piers Morgan, but sometimes you're gonna. All right, there you go.
The level of bird-brained idiocy, it's just left him sort of staggered.
He's going to go somewhere very stupid. I promise you, this is about to get very stupid again.
Oh yeah, never underestimate Piers.
You don't have a national language in the United States officially. And secondly, the language you do want to be your official language is my language. The language of the country you think has gone to pot. So my obvious follow-up is, Megyn, why do you want English as your national language if you think England is gone to hell in a handcart?
Another feeble gotcha.
I'm going to give Megyn, I'm going to give her like one bit of credit on this one. She does have a very nice response.
Piers, I think those medications for your hip have gone too far. You need to...
Yes, actually, Megyn, for once we agree.
We need to dial back a pill or two, okay? We want something that we can all understand. I don't think Bad Bunny used his appearance to bash America, but I can't be sure because I didn't see any subcaptions on his Spanish language.
Learn Spanish then.
As Bad Bunny said in our cold open, you have 4 months to learn.
Yeah.
So I will say I found, as I said earlier, I found a video where somebody had like translated it and put it in Spanish and English, so there are subtitles in both. So you can once I could read the subtitles in Spanish, I suddenly understood a lot more of it without having to revert to the English. I could not understand. I got like individual words out of this. Puerto Rican Spanish is some of the hardest Spanish to learn. It's very, they drop a lot of syllables. They drop, it's very difficult to understand as a dialect. So I got very little out of it. Once I had the Spanish subtitles, I picked up a lot more of it. He's mostly talking about all the girls he's fucked and his dick. That's mostly what he's talking about in this.
It's pop music.
Because it's pop music, yes. No.
I can't understand half of what most people are singing in pop songs when they're singing in English.
Oh no! Yeah, I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible at that. Without lyrics, I'm like something about alienation. Maybe that's not like Anyway.
Pavarotti. So what about Pavarotti?
America haters.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been to lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings. But when he sings Nessun Dorma in Italian, I don't see you leaping up and down and going, I can't understand a word of it. You're probably singing along.
I don't remember him being the Superbowl halftime show, was he?
Well, would you have minded if he was?
Yes, I would have, because we feature...
Of course you would. Of course you would, Megyn. You'd be just as upset now if it was Pavarotti.
If Pavarotti, who presumably gave permission to the Trump campaign to use his songs, if he was using that. I don't recall this being a thing, but I didn't really deeply follow the intricacies of the Trump campaign message in 2016. But I think
Pavarotti's a good few years dead, if I remember rightly, but his estate probably gave permission, I suppose.
English-speaking performers at the quintessentially American event of the Super Bowl. We do Michael Jackson.
Dead.
We do Whitney Houston.
Dead.
We do great bands that love America, like American rap. That's a different situation.
Ooh, Megyn, how is that a different situation? Tell me, Megyn, how is American rap a different situation? This is how limp Piers Morgan is as an interviewer. That would be immediately my thought was, oh, no, why is American rap different? Tell me, what is different about American rap? Yeah.
Hold up, go back. Yeah. Let's drill down on this one.
Yeah, let's hold on. Let's forget Bad Bunny. He's terrible. Okay, tell me what's different about American rap. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
This guy. who can't stand the country comes out and starts speaking in Spanish. And I'm sure the people in South Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it.
She really had the choice to not to. She really could have done the Puerto Rico, but she chose not to. I credit to Megyn, I suppose. Also, the American Southwest, like from Texas to California, like 40% of the population speaks at least some Spanish. This is very, very common. If you grew up in the American Southwest, you grow up around Spanish every day. It is absolutely a part of your day-to-day life. You may not speak it yourself, but it is incredibly common. It's not just, oh, this little tip. Why is South Florida? Oh, because these are all these like Cuban immigrants, the kind that, go well in curries, like Cuban immigrants. All of the fiercely anti-communist, pro-Republican, refugees from Cuba. That the business community in South Florida, that's why she thinks of, Miami in particular as being like a particular haven of, her friends, those people.
Yeah.
But the people in the heartland had no idea what the hell was happening.
I live in the heartland, Megyn. I live in Michigan. I mean, we're upper Midwest. I don't live in the Great Plains states, and you could argue about what heartland is, but I would argue Michigan is very much part of the heartland. I quite enjoyed it. So,
Who gets up there when he's not bashing America with his pals at Green Day, who are from the far left People's Republic of California, who have never missed a chance to rip on Trump, MAGA, half the country, or ICE, and that's something they share with Bad Bunny. That's not representative of what the heartland wants to see. And the heartland always gets the middle finger from people like Jay-Z, like Roger Goodell, who should know better, but he's a panderer who runs the NFL.
Again, these halftime, by the capitalist measure, these performances get huge ratings. They are massively watched on YouTube. This is very, very popular, Megyn. And I promise you, you can call it California all you like, but the people in California and the people in Nebraska and the people in Maine and the Spanish speakers in New Mexico are all U.S. citizens, or mostly U.S. citizens. We're all Americans. It's you don't get to just decide Nebraska is America and California isn't. I don't know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, she's ranting and raving about people hating America. She's just been through a litany of hatred of different aspects of America.
Exactly.
But it's not real America, and that's because apparently she gets to define what real America is in exactly the same way that apparently she gets to define the heartland. What's your income, Megyn? What's your total assets in stocks and investments and stuff like this? Where do you live, Megyn? What's your address? Are you one of those heartland sorts of people? Are you sort of a flyover state, a red state kind of, red hat wearing, normal, average, working class American heartland sort of person that you get to speak on their behalf about what they do and don't apparently like to watch on TV and listen to in the music? Are you representative of those people?
She actually lived in New York City for a number of years in a very expensive apartment. She talks about this
the
in
People's
her book,
Republic of New York City.
Bad Bunny in the performance, he actually praises Nueva York. He about all the partying and all the drugs he's going to do and all the drinking, drinking rum and chatting with girls and that sort of thing. It's nobody loves Nueva York more than Puerto Ricans, I think. Anyway,
it's not like former Fox News employee Megyn Kelly would have anything to do with people drinking a lot.
Yes. Now she lives in upstate New York somewhere, like Albany area is kind of where
upstate New York, the heartland.
Yeah, the heartland. Yes. Yeah,
Westchester, the heartland.
And that's why you had probably closer to 10 million people turning the channel and turning to the Turning Point event, which was pro-American, which was absolutely beautiful, which had several references to God and faith and this country, which had a tribute to Charlie Kirk at the end of it, and talked about Jesus and how he can change your life. That's what America's all about. We are founded as a Christian nation.
So you don't mean America, do you? You mean white, right-wing Christian nationalist.
Yes, exactly.
And those are not the same thing. However much you desperately want to pretend that they are. Also, have you listened to the lyrics of Kid Rock songs, Megyn?
Which is harder to understand? Puerto Rican Spanish or ba wata baba bang da bang diggy 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 whatever that song is. Yes. Which is easier to understand. Yes.
the lyrics about doing drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And the lyrics about sleeping with underage girls, which apparently is fine as long as they're just the barely legal type, Megyn.
But it is definitely a thing that the white boy who grew up in the wealthy suburbs of Detroit is much more American than Bad Bunny. Like, oh God! All right, almost done.
Still a Christian nation, and what we want is somebody up there to celebrate how freaking special this country is, not a bunch of people who can't stand us, and over what? Over our desire to get illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children out of our country. That's all ICE is doing.
Okay.
And then they cut to commercial, and that's the end. That is not the end of Megyn Kelly on this show, but that's all I'm going to play for you. I wanted to get to that end.
Very righteous there about people that rape children. It's not like you'd ever support a politician who was suspected of, very reasonably suspected of rape, including the rape of children.
Yes,
is it, Megyn?
Very much so. And they have to go there. And like, I'm sure that 5-year-old boy who was like used as bait by ICE, was he raping children? Was that what was going on? I mean, if you were to ask the majority of people in this country, if you poll it, then the people who've committed serious crimes, either they serve their time here and then get deported, or deport them and let them, or whatever. There's broad support for that among the American populace. Now, I have my own feelings about that, but I think if you're an American, you're an American regardless. You serve your time and then whatever. I do not support that, but you would get a broad support for that sort of thing. That's not what ICE is doing. That's not what's happening on the streets of Minneapolis. They have to pretend that all these people, that all ICE is doing is going after the worst of the worst. These are all pederasts, and these are rapists, and these are awful, awful people who are committing terrible, terrible crimes and murders, and they're just getting away with it. And the brave people at ICE, and that's not the reality of it. They're doing random stops. They're pulling over people who just look brown, or they're pulling out Somali immigrants. They're pulling out Latin American immigrants. They're taking people and putting them in vans and then sending them to torture prisons in El Salvador. This is not like. The vision of events that she's trying to sell is simply not true. It is simply not true that that's what ICE is doing. Yes. But she has to pretend it is. It is the entire objective of the whole political project, is that Bad Bunny is anti-American because he wants rapists and murderers out on the streets because they look like him, because they speak Spanish, and because they're going to vote for Democrats. That's the other thing that is elided here, but it's very clear, you see it in other parts of the right wing. Megyn Kelly doesn't quite go there most of the time. She sticks to these more cultural arguments, but it is very much like part of this whole thing. It is great replacement. This is pure great replacement bullshit is what it is. It's like people speak Spanish more than they did 40 years ago, and that's scary to me. That's it. That's all it is.
It's being orchestrated at the highest level, or almost the highest levels of the government, by a more or less open fascist white nationalist who is pushing for ever more arrests and deportations as quickly as possible, pretty much openly, indiscriminately, because, again, pretty much openly, what he's engaged in is a policy of ethnic cleansing.
Yes,
he wants
absolutely.
to ethnic cleanse the United States as quickly as possible. And that he's got the forces of the state to do it for him. That's clearly what's going on here. And the lies, the very grotesquerie of the lies that need to be told, the very intensity of the bullshit the narrative that needs to be spun, is indicative of the fact that they know that people generally are not behind that agenda. That's the real agenda, racist ethnic cleansing, and they know people aren't behind it. That's why they have to escalate the narrative to a level of hysterical dishonesty and hysterical passion of the kind that we just heard from Megyn Kelly. They need to do that in order to try to push it through against popular resistance. And it, of course, it also, I don't want to imply that it's just that it's just calculated. I think she genuinely is the frothing, hate-filled bigot that she sounds like, and that hysteria that you find. I hesitate to use that word about this because that's a misogynistic word. It has its roots in misogyny, but that's what I hear when I hear her working herself up into this frenzy it's hysterical hatred.
Well, and whether it is like whether she feels that way or this is all a performance, and I'm kind of 50, I think she believes it, but she puts it on as a performance. It's kind of where I land on that, right? This is not unusual for Megyn Kelly. When Charlie Kirk was killed, I played like the last minute of the last podcast he ever recorded because that's like a random sampling of like because it effectively is a random because he didn't realize he was going to die the next day or whatever. And we kind of call it as like this is what his show was. This is the reality of what he was doing. This I can tell you. I listen to Megyn Kelly 10 hours a week at this point. She does a show 5 days a week. She does about 2 hours a day. So I'm listening to 10 hours of her content every week and have done for years now. It is astonishing. She's always like this. It is routinely. It's either this or she's doing true crime content where she's just talking about grisly murders. That's the other thing that she does a whole lot. It's either the political content or it's we're going to wallow in the details of violent serial killers and stuff. That's or celebrities' crimes. She does a lot of that stuff too. Anyway, this is Megyn Kelly. This. If all you've heard of Megyn Kelly is this, you get 90% of what Megyn Kelly is up to. This is her political project. This is the whole thing. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Also, I do want to say, I mean, this is the point. Again, there's no arguing with this. But if you're talking about America as a Christian nation, now obviously that is not true, and I would not like America to be a Christian nation, but these very people from Latin America who are coming to the United States to become Americans, these are, on average, these are, statistically speaking, these are much more likely to be professing Christians than the white American population. These are highly religious country, highly religious people who believe very deeply in their religion. Now, I do not agree with that religion, but these are very, very Christian religious people. Now, they happen to be Catholic, almost because of the history of colonialism, et cetera, et cetera. But these are very, very Christian people. It is remarkable. It's remarkable that you just never see that pointed out. And Piers Morgan was right there. He could have said something.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you are, Megyn, talking about how the real America is represented over at that pathetic TP USA halftime show. And one of the things you list as indicative of why it was representative of America is that they mentioned Jesus. It was about Christ changing your life. Well, as you just said, Daniel, loads of these people, probably the majority, at least culturally, are Christians.
Yes.
And again, it just reveals completely, starkly the lie at the heart of this, which is that it's not about America, or still less is it about crime or people committing rape or anything like that. It's not about America. It's not about Christianity or God or apple pie or patriotism or speaking English, or it's about white supremacy.
Yes, absolutely.
And everybody involved knows it as well. That's what she knows. She's serving that to her audience, and her audience know that they're buying it.
Yeah, everybody knows this is about white supremacy. Down deep in their hearts, they know what's really the problem with Bad Bunny is not the fact that he's thumbing his nose in your face by speaking Spanish, right, by singing in Spanish, but by being honestly the vanguard of the next generation. The future is going to be a lot more brown than the past was, and I think that's fine. I think that's glorious. That's because I hate white people. That's the only thing they always say. When you're like,
exactly,
no, I think it's great. Yeah. It's because you hate white people. You want to eliminate white people. No, I like white people just fine. I just think, hey, let's spice our food a little bit better. Whenever you say that the Nazis hated, they think it's just like, I'm digging at you. I'm making fun of you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. You listen to Piers Morgan in conversation with Megyn Kelly for any length of time. I think hating white people suddenly becomes a completely legitimate response to that. It's just, you hate white people. Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Do you blame me after what you've just heard?
I'm gonna go one more thing that we didn't include in the clip here, but one thing that was really upsetting to people, and that Megyn Kelly kind of gets to it a little bit, but I do want to highlight this, that towards the end of Bad Bunny's performance, they bring out a bunch of flags. They bring out an American flag, Puerto Rican flag. They bring out like all the flags of all the Americas, and he's like it's towards the very end of the performance, like the big showstopper, and he's singing in Spanish, but he lists all the countries of the Americas. He actually misses two or three, which is funny. I think he misses three. He misses French Guiana, he misses Guyana, and he misses Belize. I think he misses Belize, but he names all the other countries of the Americas, starting from the south and moving up, and being we are all Americans. Todos somos Americanos. I have on my wall behind
divisive.
me. Well, and the fact that like she has to say we are America, like the United. When we say America, we mean the United States of America. We mean this America. It's like no, America is a much broader concept. I got this in my 20s. Like the first time I was when I was talking to people from Europe and Australia and in other places and going like, well, yeah, we see Americans as, and so it was just kind of de rigueur. You just like. It's when I say I'm an American, when I say I'm a U.S. citizen or whatever, you just say USAN or USN. It's like it's one of those online things you just start using, and like people get offended by this on the right. It's like, no, I'm an American, I'm not a USA, and it's like, no, it's just a way of communicating. I'm from the United States. It's fine. I am going to include a link to this World War II era propaganda poster to like Mexican citizens who wanted to fight on the American side in World War II, and it literally is "Todos somos Americanos." This was a literal U.S. propaganda 70 years ago, And I mean,
look, you can do it when you need the cannon fodder.
Yes, exactly. I find it, obviously this is propaganda. I like the image. I have like an original image and then the finished version. I printed it off. I had the resources to print it off, and it's out of copyright, so it's legal to have. But it's one of those things. I think it's a delightful image because it's like an Uncle Sam type hat and then a sombrero, and they're holding it up together, and we're gonna fight the Nazis together. And God, how difficult is this? I don't know. It's just. It's almost Americanos. I don't know. I believe that. I really believe that. Like I felt like as much as I feel disgust for this country so much of the time, and like I am American. I was born here. I will most certainly die here, one way or the other. I will most certainly die here. We will see how far away that is and what causes
a dark
that.
Joke.
Yeah. But the idea that so many people who have been colonized, so many people who have suffered the depredations of American empire in Central and South America, see themselves as fundamentally Americans. They see themselves through this lens of wanting to join in with the American dream and want to become this. People who come to this country, legally or illegally, from the developing world, but particularly from Central and South America, overwhelmingly want to be Americans. They want to be us. They see the problems and they see the beauty of it as well. And that's, I don't know, to me, the shriveled black heart of mine talking about like U.S. politics, and there is some part of me that actually finds that really inspiring and really moving. That these people can want to be Americans. I want to be an American like they want to be an American. Do you know what I mean? I want to be that kind of American. I don't want to be the Megyn Kelly and Donald Trump and Marco Rubio. I don't want to be that kind of American. I want to be the other kind of American. And I think
the kind of person who risks stuff and makes an effort to opt in to the better version of it, the version of it that's about equality and democracy and opportunity. Which is exactly what these people, whatever they say, it's exactly what they loathe. That poster you're talking about, to these people, whether they say this in public or not, what they see is, well, obviously we have people that hate America and they hate white people because what they're doing is they're trying to get people who are Mexican and from other parts of South and Central America to come, and they're illegals and they're criminals and they want us all to join together to attack another country that's part of Western civilization. That's that's the mainstream right now, essentially a fascist or fascistized version of that old American exceptionalism.
Absolutely,
and that's what's on display here.
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
What's on display in this ridiculous interview we just listened to. As ridiculous as it is, that is the sinister thing at the heart of it.
100%. Absolutely agree. All right.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Well, I think we did that. And so let's now do something else, like ending the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing the show around, which I'm assuming you're doing. If not, there'll be trouble. Thanks for telling everybody about it. Thanks for giving us huge amounts of money on Patreon. It's very much appreciated. You do give us huge amounts of money, don't you? I hate to think that you didn't.
We've got more bonus content coming. I promise. There's a box right behind me that's got a book that I'm going to read for this podcast. I promise. We will get back to it. It's just been life has been complicated for the last couple of months, but we're back at it. We're good.
I think life's been complicated for a bit more than the last couple of months, but
Jeez, yeah.
extra complicated perhaps for the last couple of months.
God bless America. Sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, México, Cuba, República Dominicana, Jamaica, Haití, las Antillas, United States, Canadá, a my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico.